Jews. They are the super apostles. Now, the New Testament should be read in the context of the book of Acts, because that early church was starting and they were experiencing relational problems, moral problems, theological issues that needed to be worked out. And the epistles are a living testament as to how the church worked out these things, which are so applicable to us today, particularly Corinthians, which is so much like us today. The conclusion of Acts is very odd. It just ends. Wow. Now what do I do? What book can I read now? It just ends abruptly. Why? Because the baton is passed to you. And your life is being written in heaven. As we come to the end of the book of Acts, we find that there's no the end. There's no lived happily ever after. It's, oh no. Oh yes. I'm in the story now. It's my time. And I've learned so much in the old. I've learned so much from Christ. I've learned from the early church. I know all the beautiful things that I've been given now. And now it's my time to live. And you can spend your time on earth collecting, watching, being entertained, whatever, which is not bad in itself. Or you can be so caught up in the greatest story ever, which is the story of Christ. It's a story without an end because you're written in it, and it continues. What's your takeaway? You are called to be more than a believer. You're called to be a disciple. You're called to be a world changer. You're called to let Christ live through you. And second, you've been empowered by the presence of God. That's what your confirmation is all about. Anytime you have a chance to witness, just remember, I'm empowered. I don't need to be afraid. I can love and I can open my mouth. I can do that. Now, as we conclude this entire thing, where do we go from here? I want to encourage you as we've concluded this. We just went through the story so quick, didn't we? I want to encourage you to go on. In the back of your workbook, you have a 90-day plan. A 90-day plan to read 4 chapters a day. It'll only take you 3 months to get through the narrative. I want to encourage you to start today. All of you around the world, start today. Don't wait. Don't wait. Begin to get in it and read it. Sarah Christmeyer also put together a beautiful journal, a 90-day hardback journal that can act as a place to keep some notes, some encouragement. I'd encourage you to get that. And go through it once. Go through it twice. Start to read the prophets where they belong. Start to read the Psalms. Read some of the supplemental books where they belong. Don't feel like you have to totally take over this story and read it from front to end. Read it wisely. Read it to understand. Use your chart. But more than anything else, you know what I want to encourage you to do? I want to encourage you to develop that relationship with God. That intimacy with God. I hope that if you get a Bible, and if the Bible you have is at your home or here, in 10 years from now we meet, in 20 years from now we meet, I hope that thing's worn out. I hope that you have something to pass on to your kids. I hope your grandkids can see where you've been living and what was really important in your life. In Dei Verbum at the beginning, we said, in the sacred books, the Father who's in heaven speaks in love to his children. In the sacred books, your Father who's in heaven speaks to the children, speaks to you in love. I'd say to you again, get a Bible, get away, and get together with God. A number of years ago, my grandpa died. My grandpa was a man of God. My grandpa had an old, worn-out Bible. And when he died, I was the one to inherit his Bible. This is his case with his name on it. Nothing has been disturbed from the day he died. But I've read it. I've looked through it. It has the bulletin from that day, from that week in his church. It has notes, and he underlined a lot of scriptures. And before I came out here to start the first session, I opened up my grandpa's Bible. And I opened it up to John chapter 15, and verse 5, it fell open, and there was one line that was underlined in red. This is my grandfather. This is my heritage. This is my family. This is what was important to my grandfather, and it has had the biggest impact on my life as a grandson. And that verse says, "For without me, Jesus, you can do nothing. Go out into the world and do something." Amen.